Kalamkari is involved in 23 steps, like the entire process. If you do the traditional way, it's 23 steps are involved, and from removing the starch to the end product, like boiling and fixing the color, your various process you can see in hand painted Kalamkari.
In a simple kani weave, you can use actually up to hundreds of kani. In a single, like a shawl has whatever width, like 1 point something meters, right? And that will have, depending on the color, depending on the design, you can have hundreds and hundreds of kanis which all have to be worked on set. So kani is basically, in technical terms, it's a double interlock quilt tapestry. So in Kashmiri it is called Kanika. 2 weavers sit on one, and there will be someone called as a Talim, the one who creates the particular coded design. So he will be sitting in front. And over the years, they have developed their own lingo, they have developed their own method, So he sings. He will sing the talim out. So it can particular color, now put it up, now down, now go 6 up, 8 down. So there's a way of saying it. It's like a beautiful orchestra. Pashmina also has a GI tag. It specifically comes from a very particular goat which thrives only at an altitude of 4,500 meters. Now at this altitude the temperatures go -40, -50. Now this goat will develop a very soft fur in its underbelly. What happens with that fur is it keeps it warm. The shearing is not done using machines like you see in Scotland and all. It's very desi processes. They have a small little comb, and using the comb they will do it by hand.
When you are weaving Jamdani sari, it is like you are meditating. Jamdani is nothing but Parsi Gara embroidery on weave, on a loom. In Parsi Gara, you take a single thread, you put it in a needle. From underneath the fabric, you take it up, and again you go down. So exactly the same thing happens with Jamdani. You have the warp, you have the weft, and depending on the design, the tilli, which we call, which has the thread, the extra weft, the thread which makes the Jamdani design, you have to put it, you have to count your warp and put it underneath it, and you have to take it out. So it's basically Parsi Gara in weaving, in handloom.
The warp and the weft, and how they create these designs, how they sit for hours, and I spent the entire day there, and it was just what an experience. They just sit there relentlessly. One of those saris that I saw under production, they said would take 6 months.
In this new normal, wouldn't choosing local handmade processes like hand weaving in villages help limit migration to urban cities? The handloom sector, while being the second largest employment source after agriculture in India, also provides us with a unique and social cultural identity. The entire process of weaving a hand-woven cloth is a coming together of people, each with their own skill sets And women form an important part of this entire process.
It's altogether 13 different stages, and to complete all these stages, it takes nearly about 1.5 to 2 months. Future is very bright right now, but it's on us to make the maximum of the opportunity that we are going to get. So the Indian products to go Swadesh is the most important thing right now, and we need to take the maximum use of it, make best of handlooms and make best of handicrafts, and take the Indian market.
I think you should be fair. I think you should have a sense of honesty and integrity, and you should look at them as pride instead of just wage people. So I think once you empathize and once you have respect for their craft, I think automatically you will feel that you need to be able to allow them to grow alongside you. Everyone who's supporting all the handmade is very committed, and I think that's a great future. You know, there's no way, I mean, a legacy that's been there for so many years, that it's going to go. That there is no way. I think it's the greatest way of reclaiming the legacy that we lost earlier, because it takes care of environment, it takes care of employment, it takes care of every aspect of human dignity.
In Arthashastra, there is apparently a reference to something called dakula, which apparently is like a golden silk thread. And when researchers found a little more, they found out that it is nothing but the muga silk. And how did they find out? Because of the similarity of the way of weaving, where the weft is, the muga silk weft is always made little wet before weaving. And that's the same thing that's been documented in this great script. This whole land, is an amalgamation of different people, and each of them brought their own weaving practices. And the women started becoming the ones who kept the weaving practice alive in every home.
And you really wear your history. In true sense, you wear your history, you wear your culture. When you're wearing your sari, there's so much to tell people when you're wearing it. We have living textile heritage, and we all must try our best to keep it alive.